Growing up, we had an iconic sandwich shop not too far from us called the Upper Crust. It was pretty popular. Unfortunately, it is gone now, but they had a sign on the wall that said, "If a pickle is for you, please ask." I never could imagine who a pickle wouldn't be for. I love pickles. I love all kinds of pickles. Sweet pickles, spicy pickles, dill pickles. I've never met a pickle that I haven't liked, I don't think. So I've never done my own, so we're gonna try some here and we'll see how they turn out. So I've got my ingredients laid out. We'll go through them. First of all, I have a 1/4 teaspoon of tea. So this is just from a tea bag. Tannins will help keep your pickles crisp, I hear. So you could use an oak leaf or two. Tea will hopefully work. So I'm just gonna dump that in the bottom. The other stuff I'm gonna wait until after I add my cucumbers, which I'm using kind of some mini seedless cucumbers that I've split in half. Some of them I have split in more than half just because of bad knife skills. And I will put this recipe that I'm using in the description. And I'm just gonna add as many of these cucumbers in here as I can. I'm using a jar that kind of has a rubber gasket on it, almost like a canning jar, but these will not be canned per se, but you can use like ball jars, the standard canning jars. That's totally fine. And I just want to try to pack it as full as possible in here. And I'm getting pretty close here, but we'll make a few more fit in. Go. And we're probably coming about close. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause the video real fast and I'm going to grab a knife, and that way I can make a little smaller pickles to fit in the top of this jar. Okay, so we have a few half cucumbers in the top of the jar. Now we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. I've got 2 good sized garlic cloves cut in half. And I'm going to put in. I've also got 2 cloves of garlic that have been diced that I'm going to put in. And I like a lot of garlic in stuff, and so I am definitely putting a lot in the pickles. We'll see if it's enough. Okay, now I have a handful of things mixed in here. I have got a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander, or excuse me, a 1/2 teaspoon of coriander, a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard seed, a 1/2 teaspoon of peppercorns, and just a few shakes of red chili flakes that I put in here. So we're just going to add those. And this is sort of an experiment. We'll talk a little bit about that as we finish putting this together. And then the last thing I have is a handful of fresh dill that I'm just going to wad up and make sure it fits. And just press it down in there. And now I have about 8 cups of water, and this is mixed with 4 tablespoons of canning salt. And it's been warmed, so the salt dissolved, so it's about, again, 4-to-1 ratio of water to salt. There's no way I'm using all of this, but the ratio I think will be important. So we're just going to slowly start pouring this in the jar. It'll be a miracle if I don't have that water run down the side of this thing, but I am trying to go slow. All right. So that's up to the top, and that I ended up using, if it was 8 cups, and I'm down to 3. So I used about 5 cups of that water with this jar. This is going to vary depending on the size of your jar, so just go with that ratio. Again, I will put the recipe for this in the description. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to close this jar up, and I'm going to give it about 3 days, and then I'm going to try a pickle and see if it needs anything. If it does, my camera light just went out there, so I hope that didn't get too dark, but we'll just finish here. But if it needs anything, maybe I want a little more garlic or a little more dill, maybe need to add a little salt or pepper flakes, we can do that after about 3 days. I'm not going to refrigerate it until after that 3rd day, and then it'll go in the refrigerator with anything else I might want to add, if anything. And this will keep about 6 months in the fridge, so you can just break out a pickle whenever you want. So this is a beautiful jar. I'm going to remember to do my thumbnail, but I'm going to get this all sealed. Again, we're not really canning this, but we'll get a good seal on it. I did sterilize this jar with a little bit of bleach water for a while, but I wasn't that worried about it. Again, this isn't something for long-term keeping, but hopefully they turn out pretty good. So I hope you can see that. Really pretty jar, all of my spices floating around in there. So we'll leave this 3 days, then we'll give it a try, see how it is, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for tuning in today for this pickle make. Try it yourself sometime, and leave me a comment on what you did differently or how you liked them. Okay, so it's time to try our pickles. We've had these in the jar in a cool, dark place for 3 days. They're gonna go in the refrigerator now, but we'll see if we need to add anything. So I'm just gonna grab one out here. That's really good. Really happy with the way these turned out. A little bit of spice from the chili flakes and probably the peppercorns. Brininess from the salt water solution. That is a good pickle. I think I'm going to add one thing when I put these into the fridge. And they are excellent as is, but I think I want a little more dill, and I happen to have some. So I'm going to add a few more sprigs of dill, and then these are going into the fridge, and they will be good for probably 6 months. This was so simple. If you like pickles, I would encourage you to try these, do your own. I think the possibilities are endless as far as what you could add to these. And, you know, I might try a sweet pickle next time. Maybe we'll do a video. But there's so much you can do with these. So this is just the basic recipe. Hope you got something out of it. Do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. I appreciate it. And until next time, we will see you then.